When the Sixers elected to trade James Harden to the Los Angeles Clippers, most thought the outlook of the deal was simply to kick the can down the curb, stack the closet with assets, have this financial freedom, and wait for the next star to hit the marketplace. But in the meantime, it looks like one of those pieces has grown into a very important part of this Sixers team. In this video, I want to break down what Nicolas Batum means to the Sixers team, why he has captured everyone's attention, and just why he is so important to what this team's future outlook is. And to dive specifically into it, I want to first by kicking off the James Harden trade. Now, we know the official trade went down that the Sixers sent out James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Filip Petrusev to the Clippers for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a 2029 pick swap, and an unconditional first-round pick from the Oklahoma City Thunder. So a lot of stuff there, but I think we kind of sorted through the rubble, and we're kind of looking at it as just stuff, when really, there's some key players coming in there. And at the top of the list is Nicolas Batum. Now, we know that he has been in and out of the lineup with a personal situation. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later in this video. But first, I just want to touch on specifically what he's bringing to this team and how it is already being recognized by the stars of this organization. And let's kick things off with this quote from Joel Embiid right here on Nico Batum. Shout out to Sam DiGiovanni of Clutch Points for noting this. Does some awesome work for them. But Embiid said, quote, "He's the key. He's special. With the way we play, he just fits everything we need. Great shooter, great defender, great passer, great basketball IQ. He just fits everything we need." And that is the Nicolas Batum story. That no, he's not going to be one of these guys who lights up the stat sheet or fills up the box score, but he just checks every box for what it takes to play winning basketball. And the biggest thing that has jumped out to me about Nico Batum is how quick that he plays. And I don't mean his pace of play of getting down the court. I mean his decision-making, the way he's able to make entry passes to Joel Embiid. He has one of the quickest releases across the entire NBA. He doesn't even have to dip down. He just catches and releases in a way that is very unique and is very entertaining to watch on the basketball floor. But that ability to make these quick decisions and execute at a high level is incredibly important around a roster built around Joel Embiid. That for so often we've seen guys like Tobias Harris pass up these open jumpers that just cannot happen. Batum is a willing shooter, he's an efficient shooter, and beyond that, he does a ton of the little things. Defensively, we've seen him be tasked with guarding guys like Tyrese Halliburton already. The Sixers have yet to lose a game with Nicolas Batum in the lineup, and even the two losses that occurred recently were both during his absence due to personal reasons. And to just spit out some wild stats here, let's look at the on and off numbers with Nicolas Batum. The Sixers have a 143 offensive rating with Nicolas Batum on the court this season, 22 points per 100 possessions, higher than the best offense in the NBA. Now, I don't think that is here to stay. That is a little extreme for sure, but it's still a sign of the success that we're seeing. And while those numbers will dip down and become back down to reality to some extent, the fact that he's producing at this level and helping the team produce at this level is a huge deal. And one of the biggest things that I like about Nicolas Batum specifically is he can go up or down in the pecking order and still play effective basketball. That there will be lineups where he will be asked to do some shot creation, score some points, and he's 100% capable of that. And then there will be moments where he's with the starting lineup where he's playing a lesser usage role, where he's better served as a connective passer, a guy defensive first, can help out on the rebounding glass, all these things, and he can do those as well. So he's very versatile in the way that he can play, and truly has the ability to play next to anyone on this roster, which cannot be said about every player. And we've seen the issues that has caused when pairing players and the way that rotations work and all these things. Nicolas Batum is a guy that truly can play with everyone. Now, I do want to touch on the personal issues from that standpoint, that we have not got a true reason for kind of why he's missing, but he was asked a little bit about this following the Nets game. And I want to point out that he was not specifically asked, what are your personal reasons and why are you missing the game? The question that was asked was, do you anticipate missing any more time in the future because of this? Batum provided a little window into it, saying that Nico Batum shares that he has been away from the Sixers because of a health situation with his wife. He hopes he will be back for good now. Quote, "I can't really say what it is, but I had to be there. Sometimes, you have to do what you've got to do for your family. She'll be okay now." So for me, that is good enough right there. That's all I needed to hear. That is totally fine. He's also shut down the rumors of him retiring, that there was a lot of online whispers going around about this being his last season or potential that he didn't even want to play for the Sixers who were retiring then. He has put a stop to those and put his foot down that he is very, very committed to playing basketball for this team. And frankly, if he wants to continue playing beyond this season, his body is absolutely still ready to do it. That this is not a guy that would be retiring because his body's letting him down, that he can still play at a high level at the NBA and is proving so on a night in and night out basis. And I also wanted to touch on that Daryl Mory has gotten in on the fun for this for sure. That after that tweet by Sam DiGiovanni, We got this quote tweet from Paul Hudrick of Liberty Ballers here that says, "Lost in the James Harden trade shuffle, the Clippers gave up one hell of a player in Batum. If he's a glue guy, it's freaking super glue." And then Daryl Mory, the general manager of the Sixers, or president of basketball operations, officially is his title, drops in here say, "Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue," which is a very funny tweet. We understand the reference there. And it is funny how Mory's back at it with the Twitter fingers, a guy that's never afraid to get in the mud on those types of situations. But they're all absolutely right in this situation, that Nicolas Batum is the type of glue guy that championship caliber teams need. Nicolas Batum is what we all wanted PJ Tucker to be. That the hope was he could elevate this team to a championship caliber. We know that PJ Tucker has a ring on his finger, that he has done it at the highest level, but those days are past him. And we can now sit back, and now that he's off the Sixers, fully recognize that that is just not the version of PJ Tucker these Sixers were hopeful to get. A guy consistently putting up 0 points on a game. And I know he did other stuff. He hustled, he competed, he tried. It was not for lack of effort, but the best days of PJ Tucker playing basketball are surely behind them. I'm not sure that is the case with Nico Batum, and even though he is a veteran, he's 3.5 years younger than PJ Tucker. That those matter in basketball years. Those 3.5 years between the ages of 34 and 37, that is a big gap for a basketball player, specifically the way their bodies are breaking down, the way they're able to still move, get out, train, all these things. That matters, and Nico Batum just has a little more gas left in the tank, which is a huge deal for the Sixers. And beyond just having the gas left in the tank, it's about the way that his style of play fits around this team. That it's not just a defensive-oriented guy in the way that PJ Tucker was. That you can trust Batum to knock down threes at a reliable rate. He still can be a guy that steps up and is the primary defender of some tough tasks. And frankly, he's looked like he's taken those challenges personal so far, which is very intriguing moving forward. So there is a ton of good to jump. And he's, as I mentioned, he's never going to be a guy that lights up the stat sheet. That to look at his stats as a whole, he was never a guy that did that. Looking through his career numbers here, the best he ever averaged points per game wise was all the way back in 2016-17 at 15.1 points per game. Throughout his career, averaging 10.7 points, 3.3 assists, 5.0 rebounds, a career 36.6% three-point shooter on 4.4 attempts per game. That's been pretty consistent for what his shot volume is. 5.7 a career high in three-point attempts, 6.1 back in 2012-2013. His best days are undeniably behind him, but there's still something in there which is very intriguing to this Sixers team. And as we look ahead and begin to project what these lineups will look like, I don't think you can take Nicolas Batum out of the starting lineup ever. That I think this is a guy that should be locked into that fifth starter role when we talk about Tyrese Maxey being a lock, Joel Embiid being a lock, Tobias Harris being a lock. Nicolas Batum is next up on my list, even ahead of DeAnthony Melton, even ahead of Kelly Oubre. And frankly, I still think the best version of Kelly Oubre, which Casey just dropped a little video talking about his potential return and how that is approaching. Kelly Oubre is going to be a very valuable part of this team. But I've said from the beginning, I think his best role is to be coming off the bench as a scoring spark, to be a guy who doesn't have to sacrifice his role or his style of play alongside the starters, that he can come in with the bench unit and make it his own, that he can chase his shots there, run the offense that way there. Allow Kelly that freedom, but don't bring him into the starting lineup to prevent him from doing those same things that he is great at. Nicolas Batum is a guy that can fill that right now. And even I'm okay with the argument if you want to talk bringing DeAnthony Melton off the bench and putting Kelly Oubre and Nicolas Batum in the starting lineup. That is a lot of length. That is a lot of athleticism. That is a little different look than we've seen from the Sixers team in the Joel Embiid era. So I absolutely can be talked into that. But the key to all of this is Nicolas Batum, that he is this glue guy. He is this missing piece. He is the player that can elevate this team to a championship contender. And I know he's not what you think of when you think of a championship piece, but he is. He's got it. He checks every box that you should look for. And this strikes a larger conversation when it comes to roster construction in the NBA. That I think the days of get the biggest names, get the biggest stars are behind us. That what the name of the game should be, and it absolutely should be for the Sixers from now, is you get your two stars, for the Sixers being Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and then you find the pieces that bring out the best in them. How to maximize those specific players. It's the Bruce Brown type players, the Alex Caruso type players, the Aaron Gordon type players. Those guys that do make the difference when you talk about a playoff run. Players that are willing to sacrifice their role to be superstars in their role, not superstars in general, and you get free of the ego, free of all these things, and that is the best way to build a roster. That's why the Denver Nuggets are having the success that they have. That's why these teams are popping up, that the super team era has come and gone, that it is about building the proper pieces around your stars. That is what the Sixers are focusing on, and that is what Nicolas Batum absolutely does. So I'm thrilled to have him here in Philadelphia. I'm glad the retirement rumors are out the window, because if this guy wants to come back, I hope the Sixers do re-sign him. But the bottom line is he's going to play a vital role in this playoff run. He's going to be crucial to further unlocking Joel Embiid in the way that he already has, and he's going to be in it for the long haul from here. It is great news that the situation with his wife seems to be resolved, that he will be in it for the long haul from here, and if he does have to miss, we obviously understand. I do appreciate that he did put a statement out there. He's a guy that seems well-liked in the locker room, that him and Joel have already hit it off and spent some time just those two hanging on the side, which is cool to see when you are a role player like that. So shout out to Nicolas Batum for bringing something to this Sixers organization. This is going to be a key storyline to monitor. I don't think we see a game the rest of the season where he's not in the starting lineup if he is available. So shout out to Nicolas Batum to being that guy. Let me know you guys' thoughts on Batum in the comments. I'm thrilled for what he's bringing to this Sixers team. Or do you think that there is a guy that he could potentially be upgraded for as you kind of search around the NBA? I don't. I'm locked in on Batum being a key part of this starting five for the remainder of the season. But I do want to hear your thoughts in the comments. So feel free to let it rip. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And don't forget to leave a like or anything else on this video. Appreciate you guys once again. And we'll talk with you next time right here on Sixers Digest.